All right, I've had a lot of questions lately from people about how do I structure a 3-day push-pull leg for my clients, particularly like my power building or my dad bod transformation clients. And I thought I would just take a selection of my own lifts from this week and put them in order with the sort of layout. Right here in the background, you guys will see me doing the lifts that looks very similar to how I program push-pull legs. Like this is a sort of exercise selection in order. So if you guys notice up front, you see me doing some flat bench, you'll see me doing some incline bench, overhead press, and then a tricep exercise. Okay, that's relatively indicative of what a push day looks like. Okay, now do the rep ranges vary? Yes. Do some of them do more power building than others with heavier stuff? Yes. In other words, do some of them do max benching? Do some of them do more moderate benching, like the triples you saw me doing there with 315? Or do some of them just do higher rep work, maybe 6+ on everything? It depends on what we're doing with their goals. But generally speaking, this sort of layout is very, very common. So if we're going to do a shoulder press, we're going to put it on the push day. Okay? We're going to put it on the push day. So that's why I worked it in here. Now, I don't personally do that in my own training. I have a separate shoulder day, but I also train 5 days a week. But this sort of layout works extremely well for those clients. So usually at a minimum, we're going to do 2 sorts of presses. Some of them are going to do 3. Okay, some of them who really need to specialize in upper chest or some of that. We're going to do a little more of these things. We're going to have up to 3 presses on that day. So again, very, very, very common depending upon what the needs are of that lifter. Then, of course, we're generally going to isolate triceps. Now, do I have some people on that who might isolate pecs also? Yes, but they're not going to be that common, and here's why. The triceps are going to tend to be neglected, and people who train 3-day push-pull legs, we're generally not doing a lot of weak point training. We're not, because if they're only training 3 days a week, we're trying to just get these workouts in within an hour and get out, because people who are doing a 3-day push-pull legs tend to be really busy people. We're not necessarily prepping them for bodybuilding or to be a fitness model or anything else. So we don't always need to go, well, do we need to isolate every last thing? Probably not. We might have 1 or 2 weak points that we isolate. Like maybe they need some forearm work. Maybe they do need some extra chest work. Okay. But because of these setups, we don't do a lot of isolation. It's usually no more than 2 isolation movements total in a workout. It tends to be because, again, the nature of a 3-day push-pull legs, it's all compounds with 1 or 2 isolation movements at the very end, okay? Whether it's a lateral or a curl or calf raises or whatever. But it's usually going to be a focus on big, heavy movements because, again, people who need this sort of layout aren't going to be in the gym for hours. They're going to have 45 minutes to an hour to train 3 days a week. So we tend to focus on efficiency. All right, so a pull day. What did you see there? You saw me do a deadlift. We tend to throw deadlifts in. So I don't do deadlifts on the leg day for them. Why? Because deadlifts and a lot of those big hip hinges like that are still upper body exercises. They still work the back. So in the name of efficiency, so that was from a separate day for me. I usually personally do deadlifts on Tuesday, and then I do all my back and biceps on Thursdays usually. But for the clients on these programs, we usually deadlift and then we go to pull-ups or lat pull-downs or rows, depending upon if they're strong enough. Now, if they're strong enough to do pull-ups, we want to do pull-ups. Not all of them are, in which case we'll probably do rows in that slot and then we'll do some sort of lat pull-down or something. But what we'll usually see a minimum of some sort of lat exercise. Now, if we're doing enough deadlifts, they might only need 1. Some of my guys need 2. Some of them need a pull-up and a row. Okay? So that really limits our biceps then for them because I kind of base that upon what does that person need. Do they need more back? Is their biceps okay? Well, if that's the case, we're going to tend to only do 3 total lifts for back and biceps. So it's going to be based on what they need. If they've got a pretty good back, we may only do a pull-up or a row. And then 2 types of curls if their biceps need more work. Okay? But if their biceps need more work and they've got a great back, I can literally, because they're already deadlifting, deadlifts, pull-ups, we're done. Like someone who's got a great back already and it's not lagging, that's all we do, kind of like I do. I will tend to throw in a shoulder exercise on that day. Most of these guys need delt work, so we're going to do an upright row or a lateral depending upon what they need. Now, if they need more arms, obviously an upright row makes more sense because we're just hammering biceps all the way through, okay? So someone like me, but if again, biceps are not a huge issue for them, see where I'm going? We might do a lateral raise depending on what they have going. But then we'll finish with some type of curl, whether it's a barbell curl, an incline curl, preacher curl. Now, if they need really serious biceps, we're going to do two bicep isolations on that day. So it literally might look like a deadlift, a pull-up, an upright row, and then 2 types of curls. For our 5 exercises on that day, up to 3 sets of each. But again, 15 sets is a lot, but that can be done in under an hour if you're efficient, okay? So, and again, that's assuming they're doing multiple sets of deadlifts. A lot of them are not, so it ends up being about 13 total sets, okay? Ends up being about 13 because they're going to do 12 sets of other stuff if they only do 1. All right, a leg day, most of them squat. Do I have exceptions? Yes, but those are exceptions. So most of my guys on a leg day, they're going to come in and squat, okay? They're going to come in and squat. They're probably going to do some sort of secondary leg exercise, unless they're a novice, and then they might literally only need squats. It could be a belt squat, leg press, hack squat, single leg exercise, depending on what they have access to. Again, very, very common for these people. All right, so I mean, this setup might be literally what they do, depending on what they have. It might be a back squat. We might go to a leg press. We're probably going to do a calf exercise and something for the hamstrings and posterior chain. So in the case of what you see me demonstrating here, obviously you see me do this belt squat. Then you see, of course, a standing calf raise, and then I do my reverse hypers, okay? Depending upon what they have access to, it might be a little different, right? So if they're in a home gym with just a rack and a barbell, what do you think we're going to do? We're going to back squat. We're probably going to do a good morning. Then we're going to do like a split squat of some type or a lunge. And then we'll do a standing barbell calf raise like this, okay? But if they have access to all this equipment, obviously we're going to utilize it. If they're in a fully equipped gym, we might come in and do a reverse hyper or glute ham raise as the last one, like you see me doing. We'll do a machine calf raise. We'll do a leg press or a hack squat after the back squat. So again, that's a normal sort of layout for my lifters. So to break it down, this is essentially how I break down my 3-day push-pull legs. A lot of those people, they're 45 minutes to an hour workouts because they're training 3 days a week. It means they do have limited time. So we get in and hammer it. And I have clients with impressive physiques and strength numbers who train this way. I mean, guys like Justin, who you guys have seen, right? All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I'll talk to you guys and gals next time.